So, Megadeth, new album, 2013, Super Collider. Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. It's not actually all bad. There are actually some redeeming qualities on it. But, yeah, largely it's kind of one of those bland albums that are a little bit more on the generic side. It's not all bad. Actually, ironically, it leaked today, and I was actually doing my Megadeth remasters video, which is the last video that I did. So that's kind of ironic that that happened. And as well as the Bullet for My Valentine Temper Temper review, I had just done the title card for that review just, ahead of time in case it did leak. And then, what do you know, it leaks like 12 hours later. So, yeah, just coincidences. And yeah, Temper Temper, there are actually things that I can compare this album to for Temper Temper. I can actually compare this album. That's not a good thing. Temper Temper fucking sucked, okay? This album, I don't know. That's the thing. I mean, there are so many different things on this album that had potential. I know I said that about Temper Temper, but no. This album actually, though, does, because it sounds good on the outside, but then when you look deeply and analyze the structures of every song and just how they were crafted and what kind of rhythms they put together, it really just doesn't make any sense. I don't know who was compiling all these riffs together for some of these songs, but some of them just sound like they were tacked on. I mean, a lot of the stuff here, the structures and just individual riffs and individual solos and stuff like that, if it would have been configured in a different way, this could have been a killer release, actually. And, aside from Dave's vocals, but, a lot of people actually say that he's a piss poor singer. A lot of people say he's a shitty singer. I actually think that he was a really unique singer back in the day. He actually had a very unique style. He actually had range on, say, Rust in Peace, and even on Euthanasia. He could do some really interesting things with his voice. And, like, Peace Sells sounds good, Killing Is My Business sounds good, and, like, anyone who says he has a bad voice, it's like, listen to those albums. He's not a bad singer. Or at least, until Endgame came around. I love Endgame, but the vocals are weaker than any of the other past ones. Now I'm getting off tangent. Okay, this album, though. His vocals are just gravelly to the point where it's really hard to make out. I mean, there are a few songs where it actually fits, though. Like, say, on The Blackest Crow, which is actually my top pick for this album. It's so eerie, and, it's got some twang in it from, country, a little bit of southern influence, to say the least, and it's got a lot of diversity. I really like that track. It's really eerie, it's really dark, and just kind of mysterious, and I don't know, it's a really good breath of fresh air, really good, clean breath of fresh air after the mixed bag that was the previous songs. So, yeah, Kingmaker, first song on the album. I actually did a impromptu kind of track review in my Summer of Discographies update, but I just basically said, yeah, Children of the Grave, hardcore with some a little bit of intricate melodies thrown in there, which, yeah, actually that's kind of what it is. I mean, it sounds good, but when you really look at it, it's like, were they ripping off Children of the Grave, or what were they doing, It just, like, the chorus sounds a little bit different, but that's about it. The solos are really good, and I really do like what they just kind of threw in there with the melodies and the intricate rhythm section. Super Collider. Yeah, no. Burn. Actually, Burn, this is one of my top picks as well, but this is one of those songs where it just kind of seems like the riffs are just kind of thrown together. They don't really fit. That's one of my biggest gripes with this album, is the riffs don't fit with each other. So, the solo in the beginning, the production on this song especially is very excellent, very well done. The solo in the beginning is really good. The chorus, not too big of a fan of, and just the solos and the overall just production of the instruments are really good on this song. Built for War, not really a huge fan of. It's a little bit repetitive, and it's just really simplistic in its own nature and its structure. Not really a big fan. Off the Edge, again, no. Dance in the Rain, this was one of the ones with David Germain, whatever you want to call him, and he sounds drastically different, actually. I was expecting it to be like some kind of Industrial Device Disturbed style kind of track, but it actually wasn't. It's really slow at the start. it takes a little bit to get into, but by like 3/4 of the song, you're just like, hey, this is kind of okay-ish, I guess. But the fact that it's so slow to start off with kind of drags the song down a little bit. Let's see, Beginning of Sorrow, this one is actually quite the opposite. It starts off with a really good beat, really good melody, really interesting sounds, and then kind of, caps off and just goes off tangent and is very slow towards the end. The Blackest Crow, like I said, got some southern influences, good lyrics, really sounds eerie, really like the melody. I really like the structure in this song. Actually, I mean, it doesn't really sound like anything of Megadeth's past, say on, Endgame or United Abominations, Rust in Peace, Peace Cells, System Has Failed, anything like that. It doesn't really sound like that, but it's very interesting. I can't really even compare it to Risk, but it is very good. Let's see, Forget to Remember, it's got okay lyrics, I guess, but that's about all I can give it. Don't Turn Your Back, no, just no. Okay, this was the snippet, the first glimpse that we had of the album. It's awful, alright? And not only that, but this is, again, another one of those where it's just a really simplistic melody. Actually, this reminds me of Breaking Point off Temper Temper, and the lyrics are just piss poor. It's one of those things where they're doing lyrics, where they're trying to write lyrics about a subject that they're really not that familiar with, or at least the band hasn't really explored in that territory, and they're really simplistic and really just bleh. Like, I wish I may, I wish I might, the things you do, it just ain't right. Yeah. That's the most simplistic thing. That's like if a 6-year-old was gonna write a song to their mom, to their parents or something, Like, I don't like you, I wish I may, I wish I might, the things you do, it just ain't right. Just ain't right. Don't turn your back on me. Don't turn your back on a friend. It's just, no. Like, this album does have its good moments. It has its very good moments, such as on The Blackest Crow. That's one of my favorite songs. And Burn, the solos and stuff. But there's just so much dragging this album down. It's just like those 2 gems. Actually, 3 gems if you count Kingmaker, but it just, I don't know. Those 3 gems are just buried underneath this pile of mediocrity. And of course, Cold Sweat. It actually has a really good guitar intro, but other than that, singing is eh. And just the overall sound, the overall production on this song just didn't really interest me that much. It didn't pique my interest. It was just kind of one of those songs that drags on and is really slow to get into. So, but I mean, I do like the original, so it's a Thin Lizzy cover. But yeah. Speaking of covers, the album art is atrocious. It looks like, I don't even know what it looks like, to be honest. It's got too many effects in it. I actually made an edit, and it's on my Facebook page. I'll probably post it at the end of this video. Actually, I made an edit because people were saying they could see Vic. It's like this whole thing. I don't even know what it is. I'll just show you at the end, but there was way too much editing, there was way too much effects, and you could see Vic in the center of the lens, a very, very faint Vic. A lot of people didn't see him. I at first did not see him, but then as I started, just looking as hard as I possibly could for him, little bit. Teensy tiny little bit. So I actually made an edit and put Vic's face just smack dab in the middle, and it was a lot darker and a lot more mysterious, in my own opinion. So overall, this album, it's average. I mean, it's not as bad as everyone is making it out to be. It's not horrible. It's not awful. I actually kind of like some of the songs on here. Like I said, Kingmaker, Burn, Blackest Crow, Beginning of Sorrow is alright. Forget to Remember, I mean, aside from the lyrics, it's okay. Let's see. Built for War, I can... little bit. Dance in the Rain, that was alright. I mean, it was a little bit of a breath of fresh air from, 13, I guess. But, yeah, Kingmaker is probably one of the best tracks they've done since Endgame, as well as The Blackest Crow, and, of course, well, I don't know about Burn, because I just really can't get into that chorus. It just seems very disjointed. So, but yeah, overall, I'd probably rate this album solid 7.5 out of 10. It's not bad. It's average. It's not bad. So yeah, if you're a hardcore Megadeth fan, I would check this album out. But if you're just getting into Megadeth, stay the hell away. Or at least pick up Rust in Peace before you listen to this album, because you really don't want to get the idea that this is the definition of Megadeth. This is the definitive Megadeth, because it's not. This is really just kind of a one-off thing, or at least if they continue in this direction, if can even be discussed, if this can even be considered a direction at all, then, oh well, that's their choice. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Keep calm and rock on.